As Adrian mentioned, my name is David Stewart. I'm one of our channel account managers at BlackLine. So just so everybody's aware, I know we have the hour. I say I don't like oversliding folks to death, but this is not going to be a demonstration of the product. So people that are interested in following this presentation, if there's interest to actually see the product in action, certainly there's an email at the end, and you can reply to me, and we can certainly get one of our solutions consultants. But from an agenda perspective today, really wanted to just do an introduction to BlackLine. I'm sure for some of you, you haven't heard of the product. In some cases, maybe you have some of your clients that are running BlackLine, and talk about, so we're going to really kind of walk through kind of why is there a BlackLine, why is there a financial close automation solution, where does it fit within with a client that has an ERP system, that has a CPM system, what are the current challenges in the market when it comes to the financial close and account rec process. I do want to introduce you to modern finance, what BlackLine calls modern finance, and we have a couple of client case studies and how we're helping them to get you really just introduced. At the end of the day, this is an introduction to see where do you see if this is a pain point for your clients, and what solutions that we offer. And then I do have 7 reasons to partner with BlackLine. What are some of the reasons to partner with us, and then why BlackLine, then Q&A. So this will probably, I don't want to say I'm going to power through this PowerPoint, but this is going to be a fairly heavy slide, but it will give you a really good introduction to our solution, where it's a fit in the market, especially around the mid-market, which I know a lot of the folks on this call are in the mid-market, 500 million and below, as well as how you can position it for your client base. And then we'll go into Q&A. So hopefully that works for everybody. As I mentioned, my name's Dave Stewart. I'm one of our channel manager. I've been working within the technology space for over 12 years, and actually prior to joining BlackLine about a year ago, and I've been building out the channel in North America. I used to work at Infor, which some of you might know, and after seeing how kind of ERP resellers can benefit from BlackLine solutions, I joined BlackLine really to develop its partner program in North America specifically. So I'm just helping our current partners, and we do have a large number of current partners in North America, achieve success by helping them deliver finance transformation solutions and services to their client base. So really excited to introduce you to BlackLine and see if it's a fit for your organization and your client base as well. So this is this is a kind of a big slide, but it talks about the risk in the record to report process. So why is financial close such a headache? Well, let's just kind of walk through a simple example. So you can see here data is pulled. So what happens is data is pulled from ERP systems, other systems in general, bank, credit card, other ERPs, etc., that are used to create adjustments, accruals. It's passed around from preparers to approvers to senior management, auditors as well. And it's a lot of times the account recs and process is done, sometimes it's done electronically, a lot of times it's done physically. And then senior management and audit wants to ensure control and completeness of the close, and is tracked within a lot of times Excel spreadsheets, right? You see here in there is Excel. Then accountants might have late journals, which happens a lot, that require additional approval, and kind of once that's done, then internal and external auditors want to review and just validate those controls, right? It's just this kind of tangled process that really occurs outside of the company's ERPs, and typically it's done within spreadsheets. And this is kind of where BlackLine fits. It's between your ERP, the client's ERP, whether it's GP, Sage, SAP, what have you, and their consolidation, like kind of CPM budgeting solution, where really BlackLine complements both of these products, and really that headache, that grunt work, which we call the financial close. So what are the common challenges that clients are seeing, or our clients are seeing, and we're seeing in the marketplace? Is just inefficiencies when it comes to close. There's a need for timeliness. There's just a lack of standardization around the close if it's all done within Excel spreadsheets. There's lack of training or just knowledge. The accountant's kind of doing it each accountant's doing it their way when it comes to the account rec process. A lot of times it's paper-based, and then it's just there's status and risk transparency. So these are a couple of challenges, and as well as, if I go to the next slide here, there's just increasing demands. To make matters worse, there's increasing demands as accountants and accounting and requirements continue to grow, and then rules just become more complex within the F&A side. So we all know we kind of live in this world where we want the information now. So how do we balance all of that? So you see here operational complexity, there's consolidations that are happening, mergers, activities. There's just that expectation to do more with less, and there's just that increasing demand on the accounting professionals. There's compliance creep. It seems like each year there's more compliance rules, whether it's SOX, VAT rules, COSO framework, all that just increase in burden on the finance and accounting group. There's a shift to the real time. Management, they want their information, their numbers in real time. So there's just that pressure to drive down the number of days to close, from 10 days to 5 days. And then there's that expectation of accuracy. The information by the F&A group must be accurate, and it's used to make strategic business decisions, right? And so, but how are accountants really spending their time? So in a survey by APQC, this is not our survey, they found that accountants are spending about 50% of their time around the grunt work of transaction processing. And then you see here it's split across controls, decision support and management support. And I would venture I would ask your clients, this is a question I would ask your clients, is how long does it take to close? Most would say, a week to 10 days. There may be those ones that say, it only takes us 3 days. But in those cases, I would venture they're completing their recs following their close, where again, that large grunt works comes into play. I was at a, GPUG last year and asking those questions, and a lot of times it was like halfway through the month, and they're still doing the account rec process after they close the books in many cases. And it's just that transaction processing. So what's draining that significant time and resources? As you can see here, out of all the processes, GL account reconciliations takes up most of the time, and then it's followed by audit and audit support and intercompany accounting, which is interesting because this is for mid-market clients as well, not just large enterprises. And then what reconciliations causes a business the biggest headache? Really, it's you can see here the speed and really the accuracy of the month-end close is compromised by multiple data sources your clients use to pull data. Again, if it was just everything's in the ERP, it would be a fairly simple process, but it's not. And so for them, it's necessary to leverage that data in order to gain that necessary assurance that the accounts are in balance. So our research uncovered that of all the reconciliations, intercompany are causing the biggest problems, even for mid-market companies, followed by bank reconciliations. I'm sure you've heard that with your client base. Just again, ticking and tying in Excel, followed by fixed assets, inventory transactions, especially for manufacturing organizations. Those are really the biggest headaches. And the feeling, this is another report by Robert Half, but really the feeling among kind of finance execs fall in line with that kind of old adage, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But yet instead of spending time doing the CPM, the forecasting, the benchmarking, the understanding the drivers that, of the analytics, and finance execs, really they're spending their time trying to see that the grunt work gets done. So finance departments really are the soldiers on the front lines. They work through weekends on average about 5 times per year. And as you can see here, Robert Half, in conjunction with FERF, Finance Execs Research Foundations, they conducted this benchmark study in which 80% of those finance and accounting departments surveyed were actually small to medium enterprises, ranging from 25 million in revenues to 500 million. So this is from that study of really mid-market. One of the key findings was that 54% of companies, 55 in Canada, we're still doing account reconciliations manually, and these mid-markets can't just throw more resources, on the account rec process like enterprise clients can. They already have a lean, really a very lean finance team, right? And then although most finance resources are spent on reconciliation, Ventana research found that 90% of finance believe they should take a more strategic role. So there's a disconnect, right? At the end of the day, there's really a disconnect between the two. So one example that I did want to share of a client that is kind of modernizing their finance department is Gain Capital. So Gain Capital, they're a U.S.-based provider of online trading services. They're headquartered in Bedminster, New Jersey. They run BlackLine, and they run it with their Dynamics Great Plains. And I'm sure there's partners on the call here that are running, have clients that are running Microsoft GP, AX, Sage, etc. But this is an example of a GP client. So what their main challenges you see here, heavy reliance on spreadsheets and paper when it came to the financial close and account reconciliation process. There's lack of standardization among their accounting teams. And they had a team in New Jersey, but they also had a team in the UK, but other locations essentially. There was too much just paper documentation. There was lack of confidence in the financials because of that. Another really big issue for clients is just a poor audit trail for internal and external auditors to see, document that control when it comes to the close. That's actually a really big issue for any client. There's no visibility in the status of the global teams, and then they had a longer financial close, because of that. What they were wanting to have is desired improvements. Essentially, was process improvement. They wanted to standardize the process when it came to the close. They wanted to have kind of this tight integration with Great Plains, and they were growing, so they wanted a scalable solution where, when they trained one person, then other folks can use the same standard when it comes to doing the account rec process and and moving off of Excel essentially. They wanted confidence in their financials, financial statement integrity. They didn't want to have a misstatement or restatement, more informed decision making. And then the other big thing was just a reduction in paper costs, which is actually a big deal for some organization. And then just a user-friendly solution that their auditors can actually access as well. So what were the requirements? What do they need to achieve those desired outcomes? They really wanted a single solution that provided this unified workflow across the process, easy integration. They had GP, but they had this other ERP called Sun Systems, Infor product actually. They needed real-time reported embedded controls, and then just to have that audit suppository. And kind of where they're at today essentially is all reconciliations are run through BlackLine globally. They have that integration. Auditors have access to that user-friendly repository. A lot of our clients have that crawl, walk, run approach where, and we'll go into this kind of our actual solutions, but really what their biggest pain is really around the account rec process or visibility into their close, and they are using our account reconciliation solution, and then they start growing into our other solutions as they see fit. So that's just one example, but Gain Capital is one of many that is where kind of BlackLine is modernizing the way finance is, and just kind of a new approach to finance. And we talk about modernizing finance really, and BlackLine's on the cutting edge of that. So modern finance is really what we talk about is this journey yielding continuous improvement in the quality, in the accuracy and efficiency of accounting operations. So by embedding process standardization, by embedding technical automation and constant analysis, the Office of Finance really kind of advances beyond that transactional accounting execution, which we talked about earlier, to become that strategic partner to their business, which is what finance execs really are looking for, right? And so when it comes to modernizing finance, really there's three main value drivers for our clients that are modernizing the way that their finance works. One is if we can bring automation to the process, we can increase efficiency. So allow people to work smarter, not harder, essentially, right? So not doing those overtimes, working through weekends, with the whole record to report, they're working the last couple of days of the month and then the first week of the month, and they're working through weekends, right? In the case of efficiency improvement, we built out auto certification rules where our clients, they've automated anywhere between 35 to 85% of their balance sheet reconciliations. So they're just managing the exceptions. So when we actually show the solution, that's what we show, and that's the biggest bang for the buck at the beginning, is we can bring automation to, instead of them ticking and tying in Excel their balance sheet reconciliations, they put these auto certification rules in place, so they don't have to do that, essentially. So that's where the close goes down from 10 days or from 7 days to 5 days, or 10 days to 5 days, or what have you, depending on how many of these that we can auto certify. So that's the biggest efficiency improvement when we talk about increasing efficiencies. Built-in controls can really decrease risk, whether your clients are private companies or especially public, they have to have financial statement reliability and they don't want to have a restatement, obviously. Companies that are planning to go public are great fits for BlackLine as well, or if they just need to standardize the audit process, whether they're private companies, obviously they have the whole audit process as well, and that's an expensive situation. And so we really do provide that standard audit process so external auditors can access the system and really less cost on the audit fees. And then finally, providing visibility. That's really a big value driver as well for all of our organizations. We've heard the issue before that the CFO just doesn't know where's this account rec in the process, and we provide this. We have a task management solution that most clients are doing their close checklist in Excel, so there's no visibility. They don't know where the account rec is. So we have all dashboards, solutions where you can see exactly where is the account rec in the process. Having that workflow embedded, so it's it went from the approver to the reviewer, management sees all that, etc. So having that visibility, especially if you are a client that your accountant's not next to you, you might have multiple locations. That's where the visibility is really important. So one thing to know is when we talk about BlackLine and data, really data is the foundation of BlackLine. We take data from clients' ERPs, so your Microsoft Dynamics is this example, from their GL, from their subledger, from cash management tools, from bank data, really Excel, any source system that is appropriate for what they're trying to accomplish doing reconciliation. So you can help your customers connect all those data sources to BlackLine, automate the tasks needed to perform the financial close, and that information is really available to the accountants, to the preparers, as you can see, your approvers, management, auditors, as I mentioned before. And because it's role-based, your clients control who has access to what information, essentially. So when we talk about the actual solution set, so just keep in mind with all of our different products, there's a technology behind it. So we are the only unified cloud platform, BlackLine, that's built specifically for the financial close. So that's one thing to know. So we have comprehensive security. We are a fully cloud-based solution, but we worked with these large enterprise organizations, so we had to have comprehensive security. Working with the Bank of New York and Coca-Cola, et cetera. So we have ISO 27001 certification, data encryption. All that means is we protect your financial data, the client's financial data. And you can see here underneath this, within all of our solutions, we have our reporting, dashboarding, analytics that comes with the solution set. And then when it comes to our products, as you can see here, we have really 7 main products built within the platform. And one thing to note is these were built from the ground up. Not through acquisition. I came from other organization where it did happen through acquisition, but we haven't. We built it from the ground up. So it's that consistent user interface, making it easy for end users. So think of it as kind of Microsoft Office, no matter if it's Word, Excel, etc. They have that consistent layout. So it's just very important when we talk about efficiency. So when it comes to our products, just highlighting it briefly, again, not going to be going through a demonstration. If you're interested, please let me know following this. We have our transaction matching solution, which is really allows clients to reconcile large volumes of data at the transaction level. So it just matches data against one another so they can focus on the exception. So again, that's whether it's credit cards, whether it's bank reconciliations, whether it's inventory, all of that, that's actually a really big driver. This is important not only, it's actually an issue. You think it would be an issue for these big companies, and actually it's all relative, right? It's actually an issue for these small organizations where they have, one person doing 40% of their time is doing credit card reconciliations in Excel. So this is actually a really big driver within our mid-market where it's really a big pain point for our client base essentially. Account reconciliations is really, I'd say, our bread and butter. This is when when Therese Tucker, our CEO, built this product in 2001. It really account reconciliations was the solution. It just provides standard templates for completing reconciliations at the next next level. So moving off of Excel. We have our consolidation integrity manager. We're not so I want everyone to know we're not a consolidation engine or CPM solution, but our SIM product just reconciles GL balances if clients have multiple ERPs to consolidate balances in, the different, so it just flags any topside entries. We have journal entry solution. So some of our clients use this. It just lets clients create manual journals within BlackLine that has validation and actually link back to the reconciliation, variance analysis, flux analysis, balance sheet and PL balances, all that type of reporting. And then finally, task management is another solution of ours, which is, think of this as electronic checklists. So clients are using Excel to do their close checklist, PBC lists, COSO, whatever, SOX, all those types of checklists, tasks, that they're doing within Excel. So we bring that into, electronically, and it's all again having that workflow to the account rec. So a lot of our clients are certainly using that solution as well. And then you see here on the top, it's our solution set. So basically, some of our clients are only interested in some of these, what have you. It's reconciliation management is it's a complete reconciliation solution from the transaction level. We have our financial close management, which just builds upon our reconciliation management solution to just transform the client's full close process. We do have a new product called Intercompany Hub. It's our really the first cloud-based intercompany clearinghouse. So it helps clients achieve and streamline process around intercompany accounting by addressing really discrepancies on the front end of the transaction, houses the agreements, and then eliminates that manual after the fact reconciliation. So obviously some of our larger clients are interested in this, but there may be clients, I know there's clients in the mid-market that are taking advantage of this as well in certain verticals where intercompany is really a big issue. And then finally, we have BlackLine Insight. It just provides benchmarking. It just empowers really finance people to continue to improve their period end close accounting process. It just shows you, basically, it allows clients to analyze how their accounting team performs against other organizations within their vertical or within their revenue type. So it's actually it's a nice tool to see, okay, you know what, it's actually taking you 8 days to do the close, but looking at other organizations your size, it's taking them 5 days. So it's actually a really nice tool that we use and our clients look at as they're continuing to continuous improvement when it comes to their close process. So from here, so that's from the product set. So, what are the 7 reasons BlackLine will help you build a stronger, more profitable business, like we've done with our other partners that I'm personally working with? One is, more revenue and less competition. So we talked about this, but 55% of U.S. companies still reconcile their accounts manually. This means that more than half of your clients are really, they're looking for ways to automate the financial close process. So, example, eBay, they're using BlackLine to manage tens of thousands of account recs. By using BlackLine, they're using our account reconciliation and task management solution. They're able to cut the close from 10 days to 3 days, and that's through those auto certification rules. So that's like a 70% reduction. So the ROI really does pay for itself very quickly. So that's one reason. Reason 2, customers, we work with any organization. At the end of the day, we work with any organization, any size. So 46% of BlackLine clients are actually mid-sized companies. That's where our biggest growth is. That's our largest growth segment in the market is mid-sized organizations, which I know partners like yourselves work with. Reason 3, just access to the C-suite. There's always it's nice to have a conversation to bring to the CFO that actually is valuable versus other things that really aren't. So 69% say manual effort is the #1 bottleneck in their financial close process, like what I talked about earlier too, right? So they also know this is a big problem with the way they're closing their books, and so I think that's really an area that you can have a new conversation to the CFO, and that's who we're obviously targeting, the CFO and the controller. Reason number 4, BlackLine does have powerful partner support. So this is a quote from one of our partners. So we understand, like, you don't have time to develop new materials, train staff, create a campaign to resell more products and services. I understand. I'm sure you get ISVs talking to you all the time, but with BlackLine, you don't have to go in alone. We have, as a BlackLine partner, you have access to all our training and support, as well as ongoing enablement. We build out our channel program outside of North America about 3 years ago, and we've started building out within North America over the last years. But we do have a strong program that's already there, and it's working well with our partners. So we also deliver marketing assistance, collateral, demand generation strategies, channel marketing manager, etc. And we help keep new customers happy by offering them ongoing software improvements. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, that's important. Obviously, when you're looking at bringing on another ISV. Reason number 5: continuous revenue stream. So we know today's business is so complex and technology is moving at this rapid pace that companies are really kind of slow to evolve, right? So that's where they need resellers, VARs, to help them not only identify the right technologies that will kind of move their business forward, but also adopt, optimize, see results with these technologies. So that's where we see your organizations come in. So many of our partners are helping our clients really get more use out of BlackLine with their customized services. So there's lots of services potential. So as a result, our partners not only receive upfront revenue and annuity streams, but they are seeing a lot of services around not only, I would say, implementation, but really around financial close optimization, doing assessments, around their close. So again, being that consultant to the client base. Reason number 6, cloud-based technology designed to work with any ERP. So from really what it comes down to, we work with any ERP. We've worked with 150 different ERPs. It's a seamless integration. There's no macros. IT does not have to get involved very often. One thing to know that from a client's perspective, we built out some automated interfacing with GP, with NetSuite, with SAP, some other ones. Even if we don't, it's an easy integration process. What we get is just send a query to the ERP or any other data, and it's a simple, secure file transfer job, and the secure FTP site is BlackLine. So the client just pushes their GL balance, GL detail, whatever data source to this FTP server, and this can be done manually, it can be automated, or both. And then from there, BlackLine just picks up that information and pulls it into the client's instance on the schedule they're choosing. So it's structured in this way as a security measure. We're not reaching into the client's ERP system. Instead, we're just receiving what the client wants us to receive. So again, that's kind of key note is when we talk about reconciliations, a lot of times it's not just pulling the ERP, but it's pulling other areas as well as outside of the ERP. And then reason number 7 is, lastly, is just that true partnership with a company in high demand. So one thing to note is, really, over 9 years, we've had 50% year-over-year growth. We're at 100 million plus revenues. That was last year. Goal this year will be at 150 million, and our goal over the next 5 years is to be at 500 million in revenue. So, and we know to get to that stage, we need partners like yourselves to help in that growth. Growth endorse BlackLine. As we know, you're the consultant for the clients, right? And they value your judgment when it comes to kind of best of breed solutions that are really, at the end of the day, solving a large pain point that the ERP system, that CPM systems do not solve. And that's the key, hopefully the key takeaway that I want everybody to get from today's session. And then, so why BlackLine? I want to just a couple notes about our organization. So the power of one, and we talk about, I think I mentioned this before, just one code line, really one thing to know, one code line means no custom one-offs, which increases that, really innovation, speeds of updates for all of our customers. So we deliver 4 major product releases a year that deliver features, functionality, and updates without version requirements or painful service packs like, some of these on-premise solutions have. And so one platform, we are true multi-tenancy solution, highly configurable, scalable, and really one reporting module. When it comes to our really unrivaled growth, I mentioned this, right? But again, we now are at 1,400 clients. So again, 700 of them are mid-market, and that's where our growth is. We have 130,000 users, work in 100 countries. We're based in headquartered in LA, but as you can see here, we have offices around the world, and we've had 50% year-over-year growth. We actually grew from had almost doubled our growth last year. So that's where we're continuing to see that, and so obviously, a lot of partners want to be part of that growth organization. And then, and why are we growing? Because we are really considered the market leader. I mean, our clients love BlackLine, and they're recommending it, and they're moving on from company to company, and they're essentially, bringing it into other organizations. So I think a lot of it was from word of mouth, and now we're starting to work with partners as well. So we are considered, Gartner recognized us as the leader, and they see these other ones. But they've, as you probably know, there's a new Gartner report where they split out CPM to strategic CPM and then financial CPM. BlackLine is part of FCPM, and you can see here Gartner has basically said we are the leader within FCPM, specifically around, and you see here BlackLine has been a trailblazer in the FCA space. That's considered enhanced finance controls and automation. So we were among the first companies to develop and market an account reconciliation solution. 2005, that's when it took off, essentially in our financial close solution that managed close activities through an integrated package and then through all post-GL closing activities. So we are, BlackLine received above average score for execution, highest score for customer experience, etc. So it's just not me talking about this. This is coming from other reports, other organizations that are reporting BlackLine as really the leader when it comes to that. And obviously, a partner like yourself are looking for best-of-breed solutions when introducing, solutions to your clients, right? And so this is a proof point. So I do want to mention that our Net Promoter Score, it's 78%, which is super high in the software space. And our annual renewal rate, like clients can close down BlackLine whenever they want, it's 98%. So you can see here they're satisfied with BlackLine, and because of that satisfaction doesn't even sound like a word, but they're satisfied that they're increasing their footprint. At the end of the day, they start with account recs, but they're really growing into our transaction matching, journal entry solution, etc. And here's just like a partial list. Here are some of the mid-market clients that we work with. One thing that you can just see here is really everybody tries to verticalize. At the end of the day, account recs is account recs. There's definitely some verticals like retail and financial services that might have more pain point around maybe even transaction matching, so there's definitely some verticals that we work with, potentially more software organizations, tech companies we've been working with, especially companies that are pre-IPO. But at the end of the day, every organization has that challenge. So we are really ERP agnostic as well as industry agnostic, as you can see here. Really work with any source systems. We do, as you can see here, I did want to mention that we have a large number of Dynamics clients. So of our 1,400 clients, over 170 of them are Microsoft organizations, whether it's AX, NAV, GP, and there's SL clients as well. Same for NetSuite. We have a large number of NetSuite clients. Here's I think we have about almost 100, and that's a growing marketplace as well. NetSuite and Microsoft, those are obviously those are the big ones. Intact we work with. We have a connector with Intact. Kind of go down the list. And when it comes to, I think I mentioned this before, but again, industry-leading security. And then when it comes to the market opportunity, so this is the last couple slides, folks, and then we'll jump into Q&A. So I think I got about 5 minutes. So actually, we'll have a fair amount of time to actually go through questions if you have it. So when we talk about the market opportunity, kind of like who do we sell to? What's a typical customer profile? What is that opportunity for yourself, right? And that's what I'm sure you're thinking, right, at the end of the day. So essentially, who do we sell to? I mean, we're selling to the CFO, the controller, et cetera. So I think those are the main folks, right? So corporate finance, what they're wanting is kind of that accuracy and timeliness, more around the audit process for corporate finance. The CFO is really thinking about risk, right? They want to reduce risk and enforce controls. They want to lower future headcount needs, but just improve controls, redistribution of resources. And then on the right side, you see here, there's the internal audit, the controllers, the accounting, the account managers. What are they looking at? More about improving efficiencies, and then visibilities, right? I think those are the three areas here. And then typical customer profile, it really is a fit. I mean, it comes down to the cost of sale. Really, it really comes down to the cost of sale. But nearly all of our customers are reconciling their balance sheet accounts today using spreadsheets. That's 90% of the market. We've seen companies with, that have a 10 million plus in turnover as being good fits. When we talk about the cost of sale, really, it's we've had clients purchase BlackLine within a couple of weeks to 3 months. It isn't, it's I'm not going to go into pricing, but think of it as a cloud solution, so it's a monthly cost. So it is fairly a low cost and quick return on investment. They really need to have, I would say, actually one qualified accountant. So really 2 people are going to be using BlackLine. It's the approver and the reviewer, right? So they need to have two users, really. Essentially, it's a minimum. We have clients that have 3,000 users. I think it's like 4,000 users. United Technologies. All the way down to 2 users, right? So, and because it's a cloud solution, it really is scalable. If financial governance is a priority, if they have multiple, we talked about this, but if they have, whether it's multiple locations or countries or multiple entities, ERP systems, the more, obviously the more complex their close is, the more there's a pain point, the better the fit. If they're subsidiaries of large organizations, definitely great fits. I mentioned this before about high transaction volumes, and that's all relative. We have this NetSuite client that that's like a law firm in Missouri, and they had, I think it was like 7,000 credit card transactions, but it was taking them 40% of this accountant's time. So this person left. CFO was like, well, do we replace that? Or do we look at technology? So for them, 6,000 transactions was a lot versus others, that might not be a lot, but it's all kind of relatively speaking. Like Netflix uses BlackLine and they have, 5 million transactions every week, and I think even more than that. So high transaction volumes, there's definitely a pain point. Companies growing or planning to expand, they need to kind of, again, enforce controls and just standardization within the close as they're growing. And then, private companies are with plans to go public. Again, these are all, I wouldn't say typical, but, kind of nice to haves, but I'm sure when you ask your client, how long does it take you to close? Can you explain to me how you do your account reconciliation, describe your current process for reviewing and improving account reconciliations. I'm sure a lot of them are going to be saying the same thing. It's all done in Excel and it's taking us a certain amount of time. And I did want to mention, our channel footprint. We already have a large number of partners, and this is actually our resellers. So these are BlackLine resellers. We actually work with a large number of referral partners, affiliate partners, and alliance partners that are doing a lot of services around BlackLine that we work with. But this is just a snippet of some of our resellers outside of North America and then within North America as well. So again, I think to kind of reiterate, what's the partner opportunity for yourselves, for the client-based BlackLine? We're solving a widespread problem. Hopefully, I was able to communicate that today. Again, I think this would be a good point to ask your clients, and do have some questions like discovery questions that you can ask your clients just to see if it is a fit. I mean, really, one of our partners mentioned there's 3 simple questions to determine whether a customer, should be looking at the solution. One is, do you rely on numerous spreadsheets to manage your account reconciliations? If the answer is yes, there's an opportunity. Are your month-end process largely manual? Yes, that's an opportunity. And then how long, to close and how many people are involved? If it's more than 5 days, it's a no-brainer, but anyone can close quickly with lots of people, so just consider that as well. So that was actually really good, those 3 questions that you can ask your client, and just to see, yes, you know what, there is an opportunity here, there is a pain that we can help solve. And this is what it talks about. Financial close processes are still largely manual. I don't think I have to mention this, but cloud adoption, reduces the total cost of ownership while increasing scalability for organizations. We are ERP agnostic, so any client that you're working with are potential fits for BlackLine. From our standpoint, we want to leverage your local expertise. Again, I understand how the resellers work, how the partners work. You are the consultant for these clients. They go to you to ask for recommendation, to endorse the best of breed. So we want to leverage that local expertise. You have that new conversation that you maybe haven't had for a while to the CFO level, not to IT, not to operations, but really to the CFO. And that's really a key point, because I know I've worked with partners that do work with IT only. They say they want to talk to the CFO, but really they only have contacts with the CIO or IT person, or and just because they've had them for a while and there hasn't been those new conversations. But I'm telling you, this is a new conversation that you can have, and with that, there's new revenue streams, and there's new recurring revenue, but really services streams around. Again, I don't want to talk about implementing BlackLine. That's one thing, but it's really around financial transformation as well, right? And doing, a partner that does rapid assessments. We have a lot of partners that do these assessments around their close to see how can we help. And so they do that analysis. And one of the findings a lot of times is, we believe BlackLine's a good fit because it will help improve efficiencies and decrease risk and provide visibility. And then I think lastly, we're not competing. We're really not competing with what your ERP systems BI solution is. We really are, and this is coming from Gartner, this is coming from other reports, where we're just providing value to the client's investment, whether they're running GP or whatever BI solution. I mean, go down the list, Host, Adaptive, BI 360, whatever it is, right? We're complementing what they already have, already using. And then it's just a value to your install base. At the end of the day, you want to provide value to your clients. You need to solve a pain point. You want to keep being that consultant, for them. So those are, that's essentially it when it comes to my presentation. I'm going to go into, I think the last slide is just Q&A. I mean, obviously, this is my, if you want to, you can visit blackline.com. So what I recommend after this, if you're interested, a couple of things. One is, visit our website. Check out our website. Lots of recordings, lots of videos, lots of information. You can go to blackline.com partners, or you can contact myself, david.stewart@blackline.com, if you're interested in actually seeing a demonstration. We have weekly webinars as well, all that other other stuff. But please let me know on that. But with that, maybe I'll pass it back over to you, Adrian, and see if there's any questions.
Great. Thank you so much, David. That was a great presentation. We do have a couple polls while we're going through some questions here. So I'm going to launch the first one. If I could ask the audience just to answer this question quickly, that would be awesome. Are you aware that your clients are experiencing the challenges discussed today? If you could just select yes or no. And let me look at the questions here. What is the cost, David, of the solution?
I knew that question always comes up. So, I mean, really when it comes to cost, it depends on what, you saw those solution sets, but if I just give you ballpark numbers, right? So it's per user basis, right? So it's user based. So if you have, let's say 5 people in the accounting team, right? CFO, controller, 3 accountants, whatever it is, right? Let's just say it's 5 people. On average, I'm going to just ballpark here. Say it's $150 to $200 per user per month. So let's say average $2,000 per annum, right? So 5 users, $10K. Again, that's on average. Implementation, it can be, implementation is, because we are a cloud-based solution, it's all configurable. We have templates to help implement a solution. It could be as low as $5K for an implementation. Our mid-market sales reps are, they can implement the software. We have our, services organization. We're not a services firm. I want to keep that in mind. And that's where a lot of our partners do not only, again, talk about implementation, but value-added kind of services, optimization. But it can be as low as $5K, and obviously it goes from there. But at least that gives you a ballpark, and that's what really, that's why we're really are scalable. That's why we can scale down and scale up. At the end of the day, and from a price perspective too.
And how is the reseller involved in the implementation? Do you do the implementation, or does the reseller do the implementation?
That's part of, when we're working with our resellers, like true resellers versus affiliates, referrals, all that, we train our resellers so they can implement. Obviously, we know, it's not going to happen overnight, but we have an enablement program to get up to speed so you can implement BlackLine going forward. Again, what we usually do is you would mirror us in the first few, right? As we start to build, have more clients that are interested, build more pipeline, then your team will be able to do the implementations. And then, as a true reseller, you would be supporting BlackLine, and we would be kind of second and third line support. But that goes into our different programs, our reseller program versus our affiliate program versus our, service bureau program is a separate one, where we work with accounting outsourcing firms, et cetera. But yeah, we have a whole program to go over the enablement when it comes to implementation as well. So one thing to know, actually our next implementation training. So when I brought on, our partners that have been brought on as partners of BlackLine, our next training is we have every quarter in LA. So our next one's actually August 8th at our LA headquarters. We have it's 5 days of training. The first day and a half is more introduction to BlackLine, understanding BlackLine, how more on the sales, pre-sales, and then the last 3 days implementation training, specifically around our account reconciliation and task management solution, and then an introduction to matching, and go from there. So, yeah, I can get more details if anybody wants.
And I have another poll up. If I could ask the audience to answer, are you seeking to add new cloud solutions to your ERP portfolio? If you could just take a moment to answer that question. And let me look over here and see if there's any more questions. What kind of margins do you offer resellers?
They're strong margins. So what I recommend is I can kind of talk offline with anybody that wants to go over margins. But for referral is 10%, and then it goes from 30% and upwards for our full resellers. So, but I can certainly have a conversation on that, and it's the normal. I mean, I come from other software companies, so I'm sure if anybody that's selling GP or Intact or what have you, you probably know what those margins would be.
And have you ever worked with Acumatica?
Good question. Let me find out. I know that's one of the other cloud solutions that's growing. I'm pretty sure I have to look at our 1,400 clients. I'm pretty sure we have, but I can certainly check on that. Even if we haven't, again, it's not. From an implementation standpoint, it's fairly easy. It's just, again, from our standpoint, it's just educate. So, but I can check on that. Whoever asked that question, I'll find out.
Perfect. And I'm not seeing any more questions at this time. I'm going to close out this poll, and I have one more poll to ask the audience. How important? Let me launch it. How important is it to gain access to the CFO when selling your ERP solutions? Have you found, audience, have you found that it's really important to have the CFO engaged in the buying process when it comes to ERP solutions in general? And so we have unimportant, important, very important, and most importantly, I'm interested in seeing a demo of BlackLine. Thank you so much for answering this question. And I see 67% of you have voted. I'll leave this up for another second. And I'm going to go ahead and close that out. And share the results. So, David, it looks like everybody concurs it's very important to gain access to the CFO, and it sounds to me like this solution really helps refine and differentiate a reseller from another reseller because it alleviates all that risk and helps with the control that the CFOs are looking for. So, great presentation. Thank you so much. And thank you, audience, for attending. Would you like to close out with any remarks, David?
No, that's great. Yeah, thanks everybody. I know you get 10 minutes of your day back, so definitely appreciate everyone's time. I know an hour of your time is a lot, so definitely appreciate that. And what I'll do is I'm sure there's those questions that I'll get answers for. So please again feel free to contact my email here, and I will be following up with most of you following this presentation. So thanks very much, and have a great day.
All right, you too. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.